All right, the clock says 2 o'clock, so we will get things going here. Beautiful day. Appreciate you staying inside and enjoying the afternoon with us here in Poplar Hall. Sarah did share with me as of last month, not that I want to have the numbers lower, but this is available to watch live on channel 920. YouTube, sorry, I knew I'd screw that up. Yeah, on YouTube, and I think 10, 15 people you said watched it live, and after about 45, 50 people actually. So I've kind of dragged my feet on doing it live because I like to get people in person, especially we have guests. But I tell you, since the pandemic, we're still having over 100 people that have to-go meals in the dining room. So I figure, at some point here, if people want to enjoy things in the comfort of their home, let's bring it to them, though. So I appreciate everybody coming out. And I can be like my pastor when I'm lazy, I can say, and for those of you joining us from home. So I always feel guilty when he says that because I'm usually on my exercise bike. But all right, we would like to recognize our Employee of the Month, and that's Shelby Hinton. If you could please come up here. We had to coax her a little bit, but that's okay. All right, hopefully you saw the newsletter. Very nice picture. I find it kind of hard. We were just saying, it seems like she's been here forever, but it also seems like it was just yesterday. And in September, Shelby has been here 2 years, so that is great. Originally from Elizabethton, Kentucky. I did not realize you grew up on a farm. Love for animals, rescued lots of them. She has a brother and sister. Very close family, enjoys going back to Kentucky to spend time with her parents. She says that one of her favorite parts of the job is being able to help the residents. Helping others has always been something that brings her joy. She loves that her work allows her to make a positive difference in people's lives. Knowing she has helped someone always leaves her going home feeling fulfilled at the end of the day. So, and you do really make a big difference in people's lives. Congratulations. I'm glad you're here. All right, appreciate it. All right, is Miss Carol Hearn here? No? All right. All right, she has an excuse, it sounds like. All right. I thought it was, a nice day outside's an excuse as far as I'm concerned. But Ms. Hearn, I just want to touch on some of the highlights from the Heritage highlights. She spent her childhood in the Florida Keys until Hurricane Donna decided that was no longer going to be the plan, and unfortunately destroyed her childhood home. She eventually ended up in Destin, Florida, where she lived for 37 years, built an impressive career as an official court reporter for the state of Florida, and she did that for 30 years. After she retired, she moved here to Tennessee in 2003. Grandchild was the magnet there, which a lot of you can relate to. She worked 15 years as a realtor and 15 years at the Grand Ole Opry. She said one of her greatest joys was the life she spent with her husband, Lonnie, who unfortunately passed away in December of last year. They had 35 years of great marriage together, 3 children, 5 grandchildren. And she says that looking back over her life, some very difficult things that happened to her as a child, Ms. Hearn can see that God has been with her through every moment, always guiding, protecting, and loving her. Her hobbies mainly are people. She loves meeting new friends, believes spending time with others is great, and her warmth and enthusiasm make her a treasured member of the Heritage community. So if we could give her a round of applause, please. All right, our next person used to be on the agenda quite a bit, and then I think probably the pandemic changed everything and whatever. So I really no introduction for Tiffany Jones from Pinnacle Financial Partners. I want to know who you got to sit on the front row. I've been doing this. I've never been invited to sit on the front row, and you come back. It's like, but anyways, I think everybody knows Tiffany, so take it away.
Thank you guys for having me today. I know there's been a lot of new folks that have moved in, and I just wanted to make sure everyone knows about Pinnacle and the services that I can provide to you when you bank with us. So I'm the one that has always been here for like the last, I'd say, 15 years. I've been coming here. Yeah, we're celebrating the 5th anniversary when we moved in over here. So that's how I always remember that beautiful party out on in the little garden area there. But when I'm here on Wednesdays and Fridays from 10 to 1. I have cash available. When you bank with us, you have the ability to make deposits, get cash from me, get change, whatever you need. I can take care of all your banking needs. Now, I have folks here that like to utilize me as just a spare account, so they have access to funds right here on property whenever they need it. But I also have folks that I've become their primary bank relationship, which I also welcome. I'm happy to walk you through, make any of those changes, because I know a lot of you may have had a bank relationship for 30 years, and it's just time to maybe make your life a little bit easier, but I'll help get those changes in place with you. We do those together, something I've done for lots of residents here. It's never a burden. I make a separate appointment and get with you and make all those changes that need to happen. I also just like to point out, and something I wanted to talk about today for all of you that do bank with us now, and for those that are using another bank, just with scams being on the rise, we're just seeing more and more. They're more elaborate, they're more believable, and just wanted to talk about one recently that's come up, is they're able to spoof the bank's phone numbers. So you may think, and it may look like on your caller ID, that Pinnacle is calling you and reaching out. And this one that we've seen even just this week with some folks that luckily were smart enough to call, to hang up and call their actual banker, which is so important of why it's so important to have a relationship with your banker, like someone that you know you can get them on the phone, you can call them and double check these types of crazy things. But they claim they're calling from the bank. It looks like you're calling from the bank. They try to invoke fear in that your account's been hacked. They're like, the bank's not going to see the charge because we didn't let it go through. They're just trying to get more and more information out of you, and you're in this state of panic of like, oh no, someone's gotten into my account. But that's not really the case. They're just trying to get all the information out of you so that they can get access to your account, whether it's pointing you to go to a Microsoft program to put it on your computer that then is going to record all those keystrokes. It's just all those types of things. And one scenario was trying to convince the person that they were actually auditing the bank and that the banker couldn't be trusted. Like, so they're trying to just tell you, don't call your banker. No, they're in on it. They're part of the fraud. We're investigating them. I just would say if there's anything like that that even remotely gets you a twinge of fear or panic or they're rushing, just take a moment and just like stop, hang up the phone, look up the real phone number and call us. Or call your bank, because we're not the only ones. We're not the only ones being targeted. They're gonna target every bank they can. So I just really want to reiterate, everybody. I know y'all get people in talking about scams all the time, but it's a non-stop, like different scam every day. Some of the other ones that I brought today are like with QR codes. Those are easily replaced if you're scanning something. Like if you ever do that with your phone, the little QR codes. Those are easily like replaced with another one that's fraudulent. Online shopping, if you're looking through Facebook, there's tons of like malicious ads that look like they're a deal that's too good to be true. And guess what? It usually is, almost always. Anything that's like urgent from like bigger companies like Amazon or Walmart gets hit a lot where they're saying your account's been hacked, or they're just phishing a lot of times to try to see if you do business with that company, if you'll fall for the urgent need, if there's clicks on or links on anything trying to take you to another site. Just don't click on anything. If you're remotely worried about it, call the actual company and talk to somebody there. So that's really all I have today. I just be vigilant, and anytime that you can have a relationship with your banker, I think that's the best case scenario. So happy to help if anybody has any questions. I'll be here all afternoon. I'll be in my office, so if you have any questions about anything, I'm happy to help. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Yeah, these scams are they're pretty amazing. You know, she was talking, a lot of you know I'm from Rochester, Minnesota, home of the world-famous Mayo Clinic. My mother will get fraudulent, and caller ID says Mayo Clinic. And you get a call from Mayo Clinic, that's just one notch below heaven. And so, they're very, I met a friend in Midtown a couple months ago. It was Friday afternoon. I went and parked and did the code and paid, and it was like 20, 25 bucks or whatever. Well, then I get out of there. Well, I had a parking, you didn't pay ticket with the new QR code, looked 100% like the same company and everything I'm looking at. It's like, but they already took the money out. Went home and I said, parking scams in Nashville. Sure enough, it came up, but I almost fell for that. And once you get in there, you're giving them your credits. I mean, they are really, really slick. Yeah, they are. One other thing, and I know a lot of people in this room have probably utilized Tiffany, but if you have folks down the road, the real estate market's been quite good over the years, but sometimes timing doesn't work out or somebody's house sale falls through. So if you have friends that are interested in the heritage and they're worried about those things, Tiffany has done tons of bridge loans, and you do them quickly and efficiently, and it's pretty painless too. This isn't like working with another bank. This is working with, I'll say Pinnacle, but it's basically working with Tiffany. So anyway, thank you. All right, Mr. Weaver is not here today. He is on a well-deserved vacation. So I'm going to pull out some information here. Yeah, take a look at that. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? We are 99.68% sold. That means we have one apartment that isn't sold. Closed 96.81%. We have one apartment in Dogwood. And the interesting thing with this apartment's basically sold. We're just waiting to get some of the doctor's information and some of the paperwork from somebody. And it's just taking some time. It's out of state, but the one that's available is not even on the market. So if we could get that, we would be 100% sold. How frequently does that happen? Well, I celebrated my 30th anniversary with LCS in January, and I have never had one day of my career where I've been at 100%. So pretty amazing. So Mark and the team deserve a round of applause for that. For the month of July, and now July isn't over, but they already have 6 sales for the month of July, which is 32 for the year, and our budget is 36. So again, I'm not a genius, but July 30th, December 31st, 32, 36, that makes me feel pretty good about where we're at. Closings, we've had 2 closings for the month, 27 for the year, again on a budget of 36. So we have 9 apartments that have been sold, and people are waiting to close at some point in August, September, October. So things are going really quite well there. When I was up here last September, we were celebrating our 90%. We had just tipped 90% occupied, and so we had a celebration. It's a fun event, and I said at that point we will do something at 95, and well, we've blown past that. But the plan is at this meeting next month, which is August 27th, we're going to have some type of a celebration that we're still working through and working on, but it'll be after this meeting, and we'll get information out between now and next month, but we will want to celebrate that milestone. One other thing related to marketing, I was just kind of taking a look at things. One of the big things, with Growing Pains, we've had so many people move in. It is more difficult to get a reservation in the dining room. It is more difficult, to get into events. The wait lists are longer. We're fully aware of that. It's a challenge. It's something that we have been dealing with. It's very high on the priority list. Mark Black and Ashley Burnett, they'll be talking about their departments. We've done this before, probably 2 months ago, but it continues to be a concern, understandably. So they will be addressing that later in the agenda. But one thing I did, I'm thinking, okay, I just want to compare this. So since from August 1st of 2025, so not quite a year, just a day or two short of a year, over the last 11 months and 30 days, we have had 55 closings here at the Heritage, 55 closings. I took a look at Redbud. Redbud was an expansion. When you do an expansion, you see a huge influx of people move in at one time. Redbud opened in April of 2019. 1 year later, so 1 year of Redbud, we were at 47 of 97. So in the last year, we've had, what is that, 8 more closings than we did when Redbud opened for the first year. And when I look back to January 1st of 2025, but a little over a year and a half ago, we've had 80 net sales, 71 closings, and we have 9 people waiting to close, which would get us to 80. So if you're feeling that there's a lot more people here, completely legit. But like I've been saying, we're not getting any bigger. I mean, we're not building anymore. We can't go over 100%. So it's just something that we're addressing, we're getting through. And again, Mark and Ashley will talk more about that later. I will turn things over to Dalen.
All right, good afternoon. Back in March of this year, we had an accident in Summerfield. It was related to a lift. We have a sit-to-stand lift and we have a maxi-move lift. The sit-to-stand lift requires a resident to hold on to the handlebars as you lift them up with a sling. And that evening in March, we had a private pay resident, the CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant, was lifting the resident up, and the resident let go of the lift, and slipped through the sling and hit her head, and then passed away 2 weeks later. And with that accident, we notified the state, as we're supposed to, and we started training to figure out what happened, what caused the accident, what we could have done differently, and implemented different plans and procedures. We removed that type of lift out of circulation. We brought the manufacturer of that lift into the health center to work with us on that. Been doing a lot of training. Then we would sit and we would wait for the state to come in. They were already 4 years behind, to evaluate what we did to see if our plan was correct and did we do it right. We corrected the issue on this unfortunate accident. And then they came in June. They surveyed us. Wasn't a very good survey based on this accident. And then got the official report in July, the middle of July. We wrote the plan of correction again to them. They accepted the plan, and that is what I'm telling y'all today. So I'm just wanting to inform y'all that we did have an accident in Summerfield, and based on what we put in place to prevent it going forward, the state did accept that, and we're continue to work through that and make sure that it is a good place to be in Summerfield. I would put my mom, my family, my dad, everybody in Summerfield still today, and that will affect our star rating for the next 2 survey cycles. So we will drop on the star rating from a 5-star rating to a 1, 2, and depending on a year from now, we could be back up to 3, and then be back up to 4. So I just wanted to let y'all know that today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So we got some scorcher days going on. Today's the relief. But since my talk last month, how many people really are increasing their hydration? Only a few? Okay, that's why I'm going to scare you just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. I really want you to know this, that 37% of older adults are hospitalized with dehydration. With that, they attribute that because why? Because as we get older, we actually lose the desire of thirst, and we do not drink near as much as we should because our body is not telling us we're thirsty. That's a real and true thing as we get older. So with that, and then adding medications, how many are on diuretics, and then we're out in the heat, and we're sweating, and we're losing fluids. And then another thing that seniors do is they want to cut back on their fluids for maybe, honestly, incontinence reasons. And so they deliberately limit their fluids. But this turns out to end up being a really serious situation. Like I said, 37% of seniors are hospitalized. And then you think, okay, well, it's an easy fix. I'll just drink some water. But it's not an easy fix because now you threw your electrolytes totally out of balance. And they say of that 37%, 17% will die from that hospitalization. And they cannot fix it. They cannot bring them back from that. And the reason I'm being such a Debbie Downer about it is because it is preventable. It is the one thing that we can do something about, that we have control over. So like I said last month, if you cannot drink more, then at least eat your water. Cucumbers and melons and berries and watermelon and popsicles and all of those things that you can eat and drink, but it is so important. And your vitamin drinks and your coconut water that can replace the potassium and the sodium. I mean, as we get older, we do have sodium problems. We do have potassium problems. We are losing, we have electrolyte imbalances. So again, it's preventable, but I say it means that you have to be deliberate. You have to be make a conscious effort because it's just not something we naturally want to do. Moving on to more positive things, I want to make a couple announcements. First, I want to thank the Wellness Committee. July 15th, they had a drug take-back day, and I think it was probably the most successful drug take-back day we've ever had. I went back to that table a few times, and they had another box filled and another box filled. And this is something that the Wellness Committee is very passionate about. They do it twice a year. They did it in July. They'll do it again the early part of the year. And I thank all of you for participating in that and getting rid of those old and expired drugs. I had the question, can you bring, next time, can you bring syringes to that? And the answer to that is yes. The police department will also come and they will take your syringes. All right. Also, I would like to announce that the clinic next week will not have a provider in the clinic. So if you need your medications filled, please try to see Sarah after this meeting today. Sarah will be here next Wednesday and Thursday in the clinic, but a nurse practitioner will not be. They are on vacation next week, and I do want to give you a heads up about that. I know that you will be very happy to hear that we have a new podiatrist. I met with him yesterday, gave him a tour of the community. His name is Dr. Jeffrey Poole, and we're already booked and ready to go. And let me tell you how that's going to work. He's coming we're going to try something a little different, and I think it's going to be even a little better. He's going to come on a Friday afternoon, and then he's going to come on a Saturday. So the very first time he comes is going to be August 21st. He's going to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and his appointments go till 6. He's coming back on Saturday, starting at 8 a.m. and going till 2. Shelby has the sign-up sheet for the podiatrist, and he is bringing 3 assistants with him. So it's going to work different than with Dr. Campbell. You're going to go in one room with him. He's going to cut nails and do his thing. And then from there, you're going to go into the other room, and he's got an assistant in there that's going to be buffing and doing what they do. So it's actually going to be even a little bit more than what you have had. You are pleased to bring your insurance cards. He will come every 10 weeks, just like Dr. Campbell did, because that's what Medicare allowable for you to bill. And he will accept what insurance pays. So the only time he told me that you would see an additional bill is if he did something special, if you had something else going on and he worked on that for you. But he said even then, it would probably be minimal. I think you'll really like him. I think you'll like looking at him too. I can't believe I said that, but I'm just saying. You're gonna like him. All right. I've also organized a Walgreens vaccine clinic. And I'm sure you all got the memo or got the announcement for that. I want to talk about that a little while because I've had a lot of questions. First of all, I'm having residents call me saying, you know, what vaccine did you give us? Did I have any of these vaccines? What does my record say? So we have only here at the Heritage, we give you the flu vaccine every October. We don't, the clinic does. Williamson Medical Group orders that. So every year you're getting the flu shot in October. That's not going to change. You're still going to get the flu shot from the clinic. And then with COVID, we had a few COVID vaccines that we gave here. And then we gave a couple of the boosters. They are the only vaccines we have given you here. So the vaccines that Walgreens is doing on September 16th is the new COVID, the new pneumonia, shingles, RSV, and tetanus. So if you want to know if you need another one or if you've had that one, you will have to notify your pharmacy to see what they have given you in the past. So on a quick review, the new COVID that's coming out for 2026 into 2027, for someone that wants the updated COVID, that is a brand new vaccine. You have not had that, and you would need it again if you want that vaccine. That vaccine is covering a JN lineage XFG variant. Yeah. You haven't had that one. So if you want it, they're going to have that. The new pneumonia vaccine also came out in 2026, and that is the PCV21. So on that one, your vaccine, if you get this one, will be good for life. It is also much more covering a lot more bacterial strains than any of the previous pneumonia vaccines that you have had. So it's probably a really good idea. The shingles vaccine is a once-in-a-lifetime vaccine. It's done in a series of 2. You get one vaccine, and then 2 to 6 months later, you get another one. All right? So if you have had the shingles, both of them, then you do not need a shingles vaccine. There's no update to that. It's a once in a lifetime. I have had residents ask me, I haven't had the vaccine, but I've had shingles. Would the vaccine do me any good? The answer to that is yes. Once you have shingles, unfortunately, you can get it again. And the vaccine is known to be 98% effective. So if you haven't had the shingles vaccine, you live in a community setting, you don't want to get shingles. RSV, a lot of people really don't know about RSV. It's kind of new to us hearing about it on the news and everything. They're like, oh, I don't know if I want that. RSV is very contagious, starts out like a cold. But the thing about RSV is it can become very serious in seniors and children. It can go from a viral into a bacterial bronchitis and pneumonia. And a lot of people end up with serious lung problems with RSV. That is also a single, once-in-a-lifetime vaccine. And then the last one is tetanus. They're actually given a tetanus. Everyone should have a tetanus shot every 10 years. Every 10 years on that. So I just kind of wanted to review that, to help you understand if you need these. Walgreens says safely that you can have 4 vaccines at one time. That's what they say. I said, are you sure? No reactions? They said they do it all the time. So I'm just saying that's what they say. You can safely have up to 4. So when you see Shelby to sign up for the vaccine clinic, there are 4 slots by your name, and you will let her know which vaccines you want. Because then I have to let Walgreens know how much vaccine to bring. You are also, please, bring your insurance cards. Bring them to the podiatrist for the first time, and bring your Medicare or your Advantage plan or your Part D plan, which is your prescription plan, to the vaccine clinic. Walgreens does need that. Is there any questions about that? Okay. And then some future wellness program. The wellness committee, I can't keep up with them. They've got healthcare presentations scheduled clear through next March, I think. Seriously, they are dynamite. The one for August will be August 11th. Dr. Ian Byram is coming. We have some residents that are very familiar with that orthopedic. Very good. And he's going to be talking about orthopedic problems in aging. That's August 11th. A reminder that that is the only healthcare presentation that will be at 3 p.m., not 2. All the presentations are at 2 except him, because he's closing his office to come and talk to you, and the soonest he could be here is at 3. So that's August 11th at 3 p.m. And then in September, we've got our talented Amy Sheehan from Community Life Services is going to do a very interesting presentation on how art is medicine. And I'm really looking forward to that. As we know, she's just a wealth of talent, and that should be really, really interesting. The last thing I want to bring up is we do have a lot of new residents. I know I bring this up, I think, every month, but I cannot tell you how important that if you are having an emergency call, if you need emergent services in your apartment, please do not call the health center. When you call, it does not go in the health center as an emergency. That is not the protocol. The protocol is you have to pull your cord. So even if you're going to call 911, pull your cord and then call 911 on your own if you want. But the only way we know that you have an emergency going on is if your cord is pulled. That will then go over an alarm over at the nurse's station. They will in turn see where that call is coming from, call you on the phone. You're not answering because you've got chest pain or you're on the floor. They are automatically going to come with security and a nurse. Calling, they could be in with the patient. You know, they could be doing care needs. They could be feeding somebody. Those phones, as you know, probably, are not always answered. You know, staff is busy and they are with residents. So if you are having an emergency, I say it, but I get the incident reports, and I still, even today, I got 2 that said resident called Summerfield. And that just delays us responding to you. So please, any questions on that, pull the cord. And if anybody is worried about not being able to get to the cord, keep in mind for new residents that don't know this, but you can see me and order another neck pendant that you can wear anywhere inside your unit, and it will, if you fell in the living room or the kitchen, and you can push that, and it will activate your pull cord, just like if you pulled the cord. There's a one-time fee for that, just a one-time fee. But if you're interested in that, if you're a high risk for falls, if you live alone, it's an excellent idea. All right, that's it. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. First, I'll talk about wait list and just increased participation and the things that John alluded to. So we do have wait lists. I tell you all the time that they're not as big of a deal as we hear. I would still stand by that, but I won't deny that we do experience wait list for almost every event and outing that we're offering. It's a good thing. It means that we're offering lots of things that you're very interested in, but I also know that it can be frustrating to sign up for things and not get on that list. So it is something that we are continuously monitoring, looking at, discussing. How do we make this better? There have been a couple of things where we've offered multiple sessions of something, or we're taking 2 buses. So we're trying to do what we can to mitigate those wait lists. A couple of things, though, that I want to point out. We also experience residents signing up for things and not showing up to every single event. So whether that's an outing, an event here, we are experiencing that pretty regularly as well. So as a resident, what can you do? If you can't show up to something, please let Shelby know. That allows us to pull another resident from the wait list. It also helps make sure that we have enough seats for everyone that has signed up. It makes that we can be prepared for everybody that's signed up. So that's one way that you can help us. The other thing is when the activity calendar comes out, we notice, particularly for things that don't have a fee associated, we get this overwhelming sign up in the beginning, and then we get a lot of cancellations, and then we get some no-shows. So the ask there would be, before you complete your registration form, really compare that to your personal calendar and sign up for things that there's a good chance you'll be able to attend. We love the large participation. It's great that we have so many residents that want to participate, but we also want to make it a positive resident experience. And so one of the things that you can do is by letting us know if you need to cancel and also signing up for things that you do intend to attend. One thing I'll mention, we've got the summer concert in August. It's Wednesday, August 19th. We did move that indoors so that we can accommodate more residents. So again, that's just an example of, we know it's an issue. We're talking about it. We're planning. We're doing what we can do. And I think we can accommodate about 40 or 50 more residents by moving that indoors. So that's the reason we made that decision. So same thing as if it were outdoors, you'll pick up your box dinner, and then right before the concert, but the concert will take place in here. Moving on to a couple of things for September, we are going to kick off our our Alzheimer's fundraising is going to happen in September this year, September 18th through 20th, and we're having a 3-day music festival. Has anybody ever been to a music festival before? Okay, so we have some cool residents. Well, you are all going to get the chance to go to a 3-day music festival in September. It'll be here on campus. So we will have a concert on Friday evening. We'll have 2 concerts on Saturday and a concert on Sunday. You will make a donation to the Alzheimer's Association. That'll be your admission. You'll have to get a wristband. We're doing this exactly like a real music festival. There's even going to be a merch tent. So it'll be all the proceeds will go to Alzheimer's, but it'll be just a good weekend of music. And then the next thing, I want to bring your attention to the screen. We're going to show a trailer for Grains of Sand, which is a film that we're going to show here. So I'll let you watch this, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So this film, Grains of Sand, we're going to show here in September on Wednesday, September 9th. And we're actually going to have the filmmaker here, and she's going to do a Q&A after we watch the film, and then there will also be a reception where residents can interact with her. So she actually reached out to me, and I watched the trailer and spent some time talking to her. And then she shared that there are some other LCS communities that have shown this, offered this. I reached out to those communities, and they had nothing but positive things to say. So I'm excited that we will have the chance to show the film, but then also have the filmmaker here. So that'll be on your September calendar, and that'll be Wednesday, September 9th at 2:30 here in Poplar Hall. So that's kind of everything coming up, but as always, keep your eye on your calendar and look at your insert for all the things that we have going on here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I talk about the restaurant reservations, I had several residents ask what exactly happened on Monday evening in the Fireside Grill. So I wanted to touch base on that a little bit. The internet went down during the middle of service on Monday. And when that goes down or the computers go down, what we go to are manual order taking, or crash kits, as we call them, and they're the carbon copy paper where you have to write orders down. When the internet went down, some of the servers had already, Monday's obviously our busiest night in the restaurant. The servers, some of them had already submitted through the tablets the orders. Well, those orders didn't go through. So then the servers stop, and they've got to go back into that tablet after they've already taken your order, and they've got to handwrite these orders. And then those get submitted to the kitchen. So now, instead of having a 4-top all on one ticket, you've got an individual ticket for each person, right? They're only small tablets. So in the middle of all that, as they were trying to get the food out, the computers came back up. All those tickets that had been rung in previously then came through, and so the kitchen doesn't know what went out or whatever, so they're preparing more. So they get the tablets back out, they're doing it again, and then the internet goes down again. So worst night for it to happen, people trying to get the bingo. The crash kits, trying to read these tickets that the servers are trying to write real fast. The kitchen's not used to doing that. They probably think that every server thinks they're a doctor writing prescriptions at that point. But, you really can't train for that unless it's in the moment. And fortunately, we don't get a lot of those opportunities to train or to do that here, and that's a good thing. But most of you came back the next night and gave us another shot, and it happened again. But nowhere near to the severity of Monday night. The good news is I can't sit here I can't tell you that it's fixed or repaired or not, but it didn't happen last night. So that's good. Update on the restaurant reservation. So I want to tell you some of the things that we've done. I think everybody's pretty much aware, but we've added 2 extra tables into the dining room. So that's 8 extra seats. A lot more congested in the dining room. We appreciate your cooperation with allowing us to move the walkers and the scooters, out of the dining room. That's very helpful. Besides adding the 2 tables, we've also expanded the number of reservation slots that you have available to make reservations. If you're comfortable making the reservations on your own, that's great. Comfortable canceling them on your own, that's great. But we've opened some more slots for that. We still manage all the reservations based upon whether it's a 2-top or a 4-top or 6-top, 8 tops, and any of that. If for some reason you go in and you're trying to make a reservation and it says there are no seats available at that time, that's just your very first step. All that says is that you're not able to make that reservation. We want you to call us. You can call myself, you can call Tyler, or you can call this number right here. This number right here is monitored, probably 12 hours a day, Monday through Saturday, and about 6 hours on Sunday. If you don't get a hold of one of the managers, you can leave a voicemail. But this is the best number to call if you need help with a reservation, or if you, want to cancel a reservation. That's the best number to call. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm typically not here on the weekends, but feel free to email or call me. I can assist. Tyler's the same way. If you're comfortable doing your the reservations online, in that section where you can put in notes, what is very helpful to us is if you're dining with other residents, is to put their names in there if you know they're going to be dining with them. That way we don't end up with duplicate reservations on the sheet, and we know we can open up more slots and take more reservations. So that's very helpful. Any questions on reservations? Please don't call this number for podiatrist reservations. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. All right, moving on to other business. Before I get into that, I just want to circle back a little bit on what Dalen mentioned. That the situation that happened in Summerfield, it's pretty devastating for the team, for the staff. Unfortunate when people take care of people, and I'm not making light of this at all, but unfortunately, situations do happen. Does that make Summerfield bad? Absolutely not. We've been operating over 19 years. Do the staff feel terrible? Yes, they do. You might say, well, this happened in March. How come we're just hearing about it? Like Dalen mentioned, by the time they come and do the survey, we have to wait for them to come in. And then that was June, and then we wait to get the official report, which is another 2 weeks. Then we have to respond, and then they can accept it or deny it. So we just got it the week before last. We went over this with the council the week before last, Finance Committee this week, and we're sharing it with you today. You might say, how is this going to affect sales? I might say, fortunately or unfortunately, Mark Weaver had the very almost similar situation at his community he worked at down in Florida before coming here. And he said, you explain, you do it, and he said, when you work through and people realize what a good health center you still have, it's okay. So anyways, I just want to, the rest of the survey, they brought, I think, 11 people in to survey 66 beds, and everything else went fine. I think there were 5 other deficiencies. That's fairly normal, but that was something very out of the ordinary for us. So again, very, very difficult situation. Not going to make light of it. It happened. We did everything we could do to make sure nothing like that happens again. And, Summerfield, I still have all the faith in the world in Summerfield and the team. So, ironically, the next thing, I wasn't even going to mention that, but the next thing I was going to mention, we actually, LCS, we found out that the Heritage of Brentwood was the recipient of the 2025 Safety Distinction Award. Yeah, it is kind of ironic, isn't it? And we do a great job with safety, our awareness, our response. I mean, it's one of our strong points. It says the award honors communities that have demonstrated exceptional commitment to safety awareness, accountability, and proactive risk management, resulting in a low frequency of employee injuries. These teams have set high standard for creating safe and healthy work environments. Only 4 communities on the life plan side of our company got this for 2025, and we were one of them. So we're proud of that and the team for helping us get recognized for safety. A couple of cards I would like to read. One of them is for Nikki Patterson, who's a nursing assistant, certified nursing assistant at Summerfield. And one of our Heritage residents said that she was extraordinary because she goes the extra mile in her work as a care partner. In my experience is if you ask for your feet to be washed, she gives you a shower, cleans your nasty shoes, and finds other gifts to serve, to provide. She's respectful, professional. Her love of caring for others is amazing, and she's funny too. And this was written by a nurse who was spending some time in Summerfield. So appreciate those comments. And this other one's for Linwood. We had a resident fill out a card. It said Lynn was, he was recognized for his kindness. He appeared like an angel. Maybe we should get him some wings to go with that uniform. In the garage when I needed help. Potting soil spilled in my hatchback and I couldn't reach it with a broom. It was a bad day that got worse. Linwood assured me he could fix it and went for a hand vac, vacuumed out the entire hatch for me above and beyond a security duty. Angel when I needed one. It's the little things like that that do make a difference. So we appreciate that. The last thing that I would like to mention is that we will be sending out, distributing the resident satisfaction survey. That will be September 15th, will be our kind of kickoff for that. And as I look through, like I said, we had 80 new sales since the beginning of last January, so probably a third to half of the people at the community have not had to fill out one of these surveys because we haven't done one for 3 years. Normally it's every 2 years for timing reasons. Last year it got pushed into 2026. We will now be doing them annually. It's a little bit shorter. The questions might not seem totally relevant, but this is the same survey that's done throughout the entire company at our 130 some odd communities. So the market research people, which is an outside company, they say, for validity, you're not making changes, and we understand that. But it is a little bit shorter. One of the reasons, some of you have been contacted by U.S. News over the years and done questions, and they give awards, best, community and whatever. One of the reasons we're doing it annually is they've tried to have the U.S. News questions as part of this because we like our communities to get recognized. So that kind of made sense because I was wondering why are we doing it more frequently. And that's the main reason. Again, we're comparing ourselves to all the other communities. We want to do good. It is somewhat competitive. We would like to have 90 to 95% response rate. And, I'd love to have 90%, satisfaction. But when I looked at this is one area that I've been a little bit disappointed in over the years. When I looked at our results going back to 2012, 86%, 2014, 88%, 2017, 84%, 2019, 86%, 2021, 85%, 2023, 84%. So we're consistent. But we would like to obviously do better with that, and we want your honest opinion. I'm not asking you to tell us what we want to hear, but I'm also saying if you waited 3 years since the last one to tell us how you feel and you're going to show us, we failed because we want to address things as they come up. So if you do have issues, hopefully we're problem solving with you all throughout the year. Some of the things that have come out of these satisfaction surveys. Once Redbud opened, the rest of the community looked old. I mean, it's just weird how that happens. The place looked great, and then almost overnight, we looked dated, and we heard a lot about that. So that was one of the things, and we did a lot of work over the years to keep the community really looking sharp throughout, and we want to continue to do that. When we did this 3 years ago, the pool had been closed down for months, and we just got beat up on that. Made a lot of improvements to the pool, which of course, now that I mentioned it, it'll quit working tomorrow, the heater. But that was one of the things, the Wi-Fi project that, Sarah did, and these things do cost money. We take it seriously. I mean, the Wi-Fi project, $500,000, I think, for that project. I mean, these things are, but again, it had to be done. We had a lot of dissatisfaction with that. We put in, there were cell phone boosters. That all came from the satisfaction survey, the heat lamps in the dining room, a lot of communication. We've ramped up Touchtown. People that want to go paperless, a lot of people do and don't, but it came from the survey. The concierge position, that came out of the survey. I was convinced that position was completely unnecessary, and I was convinced by some other staff that we needed to do it, and of course I had no idea what I was talking about, and having Shelby here it's something, I don't know what we'd do without her. But these are the things that we get great feedback on. The dining allowance, the flexibility of you can do the 50% or the 0% and get some, that is all from resident input and satisfaction. So we do want you to fill this out. We take them serious. And we'll get more into this at my next meeting. But we are planning on kicking this off on September 15th. We're going to have some type of social event and come on down, pick it up, like maybe have you fill it out. We will promote this much more. Ashley's, Sarah helping a lot with this, and by my August meeting, we'll have a lot more details out for that. So anyways, I've been kind of long today, so I will turn things over to the headliner, Mr. Phillips.
I know you've been waiting anxiously. Now, Tiffany has not put extra money in my checking account, but I'm going to say something nice about Tiffany and Pinnacle. I recently made a purchase that was a little unusual for me, and I had to write a check larger than I wanted, and it was a personal check. So the manager wanted to verify that I actually had money. And he said, just pull it up on your phone. Well, as Michael knows, I couldn't get it to work. And I said, well, let me call the bank. And he goes, oh, they'll never verify it over the phone. And I said, well, let me try. So I call Pinnacle. I get this nice lady. And I said, I need to verify that I have money in the bank for this gentleman. And I live at the Heritage. And he goes, and she says, oh, well, first she said, who's your bank officer? And I said, well, I live at the Heritage and Tiffany Jones. And she goes, oh, let me pull up your account right now. Next day I saw Tiffany and she says, oh, I heard you got a new car. That's how personal the service is. So I highly recommend it. And I do expect something in my, and then when I first moved here, I couldn't figure out why the podiatrist came on Saturday or Sunday. Now, as you know, when I moved here, I was still working, so I wasn't around very much, and I would look on the board, and it'd say hand and foot. Well, this went on for several months, and one day I commented to one of my neighbors that I couldn't figure out why that doctor would come on Saturday or Sunday. And he goes, you idiot, that's a game. But now we're going to have one come on Saturday, so there. I'm very excited about that. We're at 100%. I'm going to say 100% and be positive. And my congratulations goes to marketing, and it goes to the management. But when I really think about it, it goes to every one of the employees at the Heritage. They all bust their backs for us. I can't think of a one that, you know, is a sourpuss when you see them in the hall or unwilling to go a little extra mile. And so I just, you know, want to recognize that. But I also think the community contributes to that. The other night, I was having dinner with some neighbors. What? Oh, thank you, Tiffany. My deposit slip already. I was having dinner with some neighbors, and so it came up reservations for dinner. And somebody, yeah, you know, I like to eat at 6, but usually I can't get in until 6:30. And, you know, that type of thing. After this went on for 3 or 4 minutes, not very long, one of the members says, well, I'm sitting here hearing about the complaints you have, but I haven't heard a single one of you say you want to get out of here. And I think that kind of sums it up. We're in a good place, and we should be pleased with it, and we should appreciate it. And as part of our effort as we go through some transition, is if you have an idea that you think will work, say something to one of the council members or one of the committees that it might impact, and say, you know, I've got this idea they might look at. And I can guarantee that they will look at it. Right, John? Yeah. And so anyway, let us be a part of the solution of our good fortune of being full. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I agree 100% with everything you're saying, but when I look around, I say, you know, we have this beautiful auditorium, this gorgeous pool. with all the rain, everything's green, it's beautiful. That's fantastic. It's great. It's all part of the puzzle of, you know, a great community, but it's you. I mean, it's everything you mentioned, but it's you. I mean, the welcoming, you know, it's just amazing. Everybody from all walks of life, from all over the country, just welcoming people, and you're a fun, great group of folks that people want to be a part of. So thank you, and keep supporting us. And are there any questions? Uh-oh, Mr. Gross. um, he should be my personal assistant, Mr. Gross, because at the council meeting the other day, he brought something up. It's like, I had that on my notes, and I forgot to bring that up. He just said, there seems to have been a power outage. I had that with my welcome, and I forgot to mention that. We don't know what it was from. We did have a short power outage. Eddie did find out it was something on Wilson Pike, so it was not at the Heritage. It was very short-lived, thank goodness. Someone's talking. Does somebody know something I don't know? Yeah. Okay, well, she said she got something from Xfinity. It was short. We heard it was something on Wilson Pike. It wasn't a squirrel at Sunny Hill, thank goodness, because they're running out of squirrels over there. But that we don't know. But thank goodness it was such a short. We initially, it's not so hot, but initially we're thinking back to rolling blackouts and Christmas coal and all that. There was no way that we think it was anything along those lines. But anything else? Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.